Hey guys, I just wanted to go ahead and apologize for my audio on this episode. Unfortunately, my audio is being taken from my camera instead of my microphone this time around, so I sound a little crusty on this one, but I promise next time I will be double checking so this does not happen again. But I hope you guys still enjoy the show.
Welcome back, guys. Episode 10. We are in double digits. And for the first time in like what feels like forever, I get to see Alex because we have our cameras on this time. So I'm gonna try to post this to YouTube because I've been doing a really horrible job about posting the live ones, like where you guys can see us. So I'm gonna try to get around to actually start posting those so you guys can be part of the crew. Hope you guys have been doing good. Thank you so far for all of the love again. I looked the other day, our all-time plays, and this is just of Buzzsprout who collects all of our data. We have 240 plays.
Nice.
And I think it's pretty good for us who are still brand new at this. So I'll take it. I was like, that's cool. I remember when we hit 100, I was like, yes. And then we flew from 100 to 200 so fast. And I was like, all right, okay, we're working this.
Hey, number go up. That's all that
Yeah.
matters, right?
But how have you been? What's been going on?
I've been really good. I've been really
Yeah.
good. Nothing to report personally. No big milestones. Nothing that you could have possibly forgotten. My close friend of 3 years that happened over the past couple weeks. It's not like it was my birthday or anything, and then you just forgot. Nothing like that.
Okay. So I have no excuse. I am so bad at birthdays.
I know your birthday.
So I know. That's what annoys me is because like in my mind, when I realized it wasn't even your birthday. It was the day after. When I realized it, I was like, what sucks is I know for sure Alex knows my birthday. Like I know that you know, and then I'm like a day late. And okay, so let me also break down to you guys how this happened because it wasn't like I came to this conclusion on my own. That I was like, oh shit, we were in a buddies chat, Bruce Winless on Twitch, right? Is that where we were?
Yeah, it was in Bruce's
Okay,
chat.
just making sure. And somebody else, not me or Bruce, it was another one of our friends, was like, happy late birthday, Hiplop. And all of us were like, huh? And me including being like, I'm the worst podcast co-host like ever. Worst, like, forget co-host, worst friend of, 3 years ever. Literally, I went straight to DMs and I was like, I'm a horrible friend and I'm so sorry.
Oh my God. I'm not even mad. It's not something I even like advertise. Like I've had weird things happen on my birthday because it's at the same time as like Canadian Thanksgiving. And I have a cousin so we would always celebrate my birthday at Thanksgiving time. And it's like a day before my mom's birthday. And now it's 3 days after my wife's birthday and 2 days after my mother-in-law's birthday. So just and my sister-in-law is the day before me. So just there's like a 5-day stretch where it's just everyone's birthday. And then like we celebrate at Thanksgiving. My cousin would always bring people who like are like down on their luck or don't have family anymore or don't have a place to be on Thanksgiving. So it's like really nice and sweet. And then I'm like, hey, watch me open my presents. And it just always feels weird.
Yeah.
And it really culminated when I was in my third year university. She brought in a Liberian refugee family to Thanksgiving dinner. And there was like 4 small kids. None of them spoke, like they didn't speak much English. I believe they spoke French. And I'm having a nice turkey dinner, and my mom had made like this like nice birthday cake, right? Like homemade with like homemade icing. And it's like my favorite cake. And my mom was like, hey, like Alex, do you mind if these kids, they've never had cake before in their entire life, have some of your cake like early, like before you have your piece? And I was like, yeah, sure, go for it. I'm having some turkey. I'm having a great time. I'm having some potatoes. And I finish my meal and I'm like, all right, time for my dessert. And I go into the kitchen and the kids have eaten the entire cake.
You really don't want to be mad in that moment because you're like these poor, but at the same time, I would be like, cake. There would be a selfish part of me that I would cry probably.
Yes, that selfish part of me was a little upset, but then I got upset that I was upset, and I just felt like a horrible person. It was happy birthday, Alex. You're a piece of shit. So it's stuff like that happens a lot on my birthday, to a point where
Oh
like
no.
I don't acknowledge it much. I don't really like celebrate it.
Oh
So
no.
but next year I turn 30, so it's gonna be a big milestone one. My wife turned 30 a few days ago, and we threw a funeral for her 20s. I had to give a eulogy. It was big, sad.
That's
Very
what I
sad.
want to do too. That's funny. I
Yeah,
love that idea.
it was fun. It was a fun celebration of life, you know. Even though she's like, well, now I'm in my early 30s, so that's great. Instead of your late 20s.
That's
So
true.
it's all about how you look at it. How have you been?
Good. Been good. Work. Excited to be getting back into like this kind of like motion of getting back into like podcasting like bi-weekly, which brings me a lot of excitement, a lot of joy. So excited to be doing this. But other than that, to be honest, not a lot. Finishing up I'm about to say Tears of the Kingdom. Echoes of Wisdom. I probably I'm getting really, really close to like endgame, to be honest. I think I have like I finished like all the major like rifts, I think. But then there's this little area down in like the right side of the map. And I haven't gotten down there, and I think that's like, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but there's also like you get like there's three. I'm trying to figure out how to word this, and I'm not going to be able to do it. But let's just say, yeah, I'm just going to keep it as like there's this one section down there that I have to do, and I'm pretty sure that's probably going to be what's going to like round out the game.
Right.
So that's where I am. Where are you in the game?
Basically, maybe like a dungeon after we last did this podcast.
Yeah. I was going to say you're busy though.
I've been very busy, and I'm trying to take my time with it because I love 2D Zelda. I'm really loving the game.
It's been so good.
It's really rekindled a love for Zelda that I'm going to be taking into my post busy era after November. Once November is done, my life is a lot simpler, and I'm very excited to continue with it. Yeah, I actually, since our podcast, I've played twice. And one was this morning. So.
Oh, geez. I've been like, I did the same thing with Tears of the Kingdom, where once I started getting close to the end, I would slowly stop playing because I was so like, I don't want it to end. So if I try to like really stretch this out as long as I can, and I feel like that's what happened here is I'm kind of like, oh, I'm scared to like be done with this game. So I like picked up like The Sims again last night and was like building like random shit on there. And then I was like, I'll come back to this in a few days.
Yeah.
You know, but I also heard that you're watching a pretty popular show that everybody on TikTok has been watching. And I'm curious to hear how you got into this and whatnot, because I will probably follow suit and end up watching it soon. But I want to hear your review with no spoilers because I wanna also experience this show.
Look, I, for a long time, have been on the side of YouTube, of people talking about their experiences leaving the Mormon church. And I've become familiar with a lot of really weird, obscure Mormon things because of it. So when I found out that there was a reality TV show about mom talk, I was all in. And I heard about it as we were leaving for the honeymoon. I was like, oh, I can't watch it on the honeymoon. I'm going to be too busy. I'm going to watch it all in one sitting. And I think it was like the evening after we recorded our last episode, I sat down, I opened up Disney Plus, and I watched the whole damn thing. And my gosh, I don't watch a lot of like Real Housewives type style, like Bravo style reality TV. I typically, if I'm watching reality TV, it's hosted by Nick Lachey and it's on Netflix. But this show, these women, I'm like, oh my God. how can I say anything without absolutely spoiling everything? It's like going into the show, I thought there were going to be like some good people and some not great people, but it
Uh-huh.
seems that pretty much everyone sucks except for one girl named Jen, and I feel sorry for her. Everyone
Oh my
else, I'm like,
God. I'm gonna
um,
see. Does Jess watch it with you? Or did you
Jess did
watch
not
this?
watch it.
Okay. I'm
She
gonna
wanted to watch it
see.
with me, and she's too slow watching TV.
I'm wondering if I can corral my husband into watching this with me, because it's definitely we also are kind of like big fans of like reality, like really bad reality TV kind of thing. Like he's watched like The Bachelor, we watched like The Golden Bachelor together. We
Mhm.
love like Love Is
Well,
Blind, all of those. So I could see him being like, okay, yeah, we could try it.
one of the husbands on this show, I believe, was a contestant on The Bachelorette, and he also was he married to one of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City for a while? Like he's had a few
Interesting,
marriages.
huh?
Yeah, which is
You have me
not.
wondering who it might be then. That will also strike up my interest to go find out, kind of
I don't
thing.
know. He looks like everyone who's ever been on The Bachelor, right? You
There's
know,
definitely a type.
affluent white guy with like the same haircut and a strong jawline. They all
Mm-hmm.
look like that. I don't know. He looks like
Mm-hmm.
one of those guys. Okay, he's
Yeah,
just some dude. But and they don't like show the husbands a lot because the real tea is about like really petty bullshit between these like eight women,
I love it
all of
though.
whom none of whom are really living a very like pious life, but then talking about their religious beliefs. Like for instance, one minor spoiler. The first scene you see one of the main problems on the show. She's like moving back to Utah after the swinging scandal. Yes, there's a swinging scandal before the show starts.
Oh my
And they
God.
talk about being quote unquote soft swingers, which hey, not gonna yuck their yum. But they she left for like 2 months. She moved to Hawaii for 2 months and then bought a new house and moved back. And I'm like, that is not enough time to get the hell out of Dodge. And I don't want to move twice in a year, let alone, 3 times. Anyway, so she moves back and their realtor had left champagne in her house, and then they pop the champagne and try a little sip of it even though they're not supposed to drink as Mormons. But then 3 episodes later, she's giving people shit for drinking at an event. She's like, I'd never drink, I would never do that, that's so against my beliefs. And I'm like, you did it on this TV show earlier this season.
Oh dear. Yeah,
I
this
was
is right
like,
up my alley. I'd
high
eat that
horse,
kind
get off
of.
it.
I'd eat that kind of shit up.
And that's not even the most ridiculous that's not even like the top 5 most ridiculous
No
things she
more.
does.
Because
All right.
now I'm invested and now I want to watch and now we'll have a whole nother episode talking about Mormon wives.
Oh, I can't. Everybody that I've ran into, I
It's
say
very
the same
popular
thing to
on
them.
TikTok
Like
too.
whenever someone turns to me, there's something that happens in the finale that I'm like, why is this not talked about more? But anyway,
Yeah,
anyway.
it's definitely big on TikTok right now, and that's where I
Mhm.
originally like have been like hearing about it. And then you messaged me, you're like, "Are you watching this?" And I was like, "Oh Jesus Christ, dude,
You
freaking
gotta,
Alex is on this too."
you gotta.
Um, but okay, we're gonna get into the meat of what we're gonna talk about here today, and
Sure.
other news and noteworthy things. I think everybody at this point is probably aware of how Palworld is getting sued by Nintendo. And I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about this. I've just kind of like, I knew it happened and I've just kind of been waiting to see, like, okay, how is this going to play out? It seems
Did you
like,
play Power World?
no,
No.
no. Nope.
No, I did not either.
It seemed like there was a lot of like two sides, obviously. Like there's people who were like, oh my God, Nintendo, chill out. It's not that serious. And then there's people who were like really, really mad about it, especially because, I mean, to my understanding, some of it's AI, right? Or majority
Yes.
of it is. And then there was like a lot of people who were really upset that they were like, you guys could have given these jobs to artists who would have been happy to work on it. And instead you went the AI route. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of like moving pieces and feelings about this game.
Mhm.
And now, like I said, they're being sued.
Yeah, and it's the AI thing that I think really muddies the water. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that Nintendo should have any sort of like proprietary ownership over like monster capturing as a game,
Yeah.
which they don't really do that, right? Because they weren't even Pokemon wasn't even the first game to have monster capturing as a mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is like Dragon Quest V came out before the first Pokemon game.
Yep.
And there's other games like Monster Crown and Nexomon in that sort of like Pokemon clone space that
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo seems to be very fine with. Like they have them in the Nintendo eShop, so it's not like it's not on their radar. But
Right.
if you're going to be doing monster designs via AI, there's a good chance that that AI data was actually on um, trained on the like Nintendo owned images of like Pikachu and
Uh-huh.
Charizard
Oh yeah.
and I think that's where I see like okay, Nintendo has a history of being over litigious, so is this them trying to protect their IP by going after a small company, which I think it was originally that was sort of the gut reaction, or is
Mm-hmm.
this Nintendo taking a very legitimate stance against AI? And
Yeah. To me, it feels more like they just don't want anybody to do anything. Well, it's like kind of like you said, it's kind of sticky because there are obviously other ones who have similar mechanics. So
Mhm.
to me, it feels like they just don't want anything to be as big. But it would be very interesting for them to be like, we just don't want the AI side of this.
Were people still playing Power World? Because that was like a big thing like a year or two ago, right?
No, I mean, Palworld is pretty recent.
Wasn't it? Oh, really? I thought
Yeah,
it was like a year
because
ago.
maybe let's see when did it come out? It came out, yeah, January of this year. This year,
Okay, so almost
January
a year.
19th of 2024. So yeah, I mean, I remember there was because I mean, Twitter exploded, especially
Mm.
with the artist side. Like I said, that were really, really, really upset about it. So I knew it was semi-recent. If it had came out earlier, I was going to be very surprised that it had just caught traction.
Yeah. And
But
there were calls for like how similar it was to Nintendo and what it stole from Nintendo. And I
mm-hmm,
I, I think didn't wasn't there also like some evidence around perhaps some of the like animations and stuff being ripped right out of Pokemon games and yeah, it's certainly like I can see the similarity of
mm-hmm.
the design and if it is true that they used AI for that monster design, then I would be very surprised if their data didn't contain some of the images of
To
like
my
Pokemon,
understanding,
right?
it did. I'm pretty sure they came out and they said like, yeah, like it is because it was such a big like back and forth that I'm pretty sure they finally, if I'm not mistaken, they did just come out and make a statement. They're like, yeah, we used AI for this. And again, that is what upset a lot of people because most
Yeah.
likely what people are saying is that they took Pokemon through a generator and it didn't produce anything of its own, you know,
Mhm.
accord. It just was taking pieces of what somebody was feeding it, which is slightly problematic, because somebody worked on that art prior.
Yeah. Yeah. And they would own the copyright of the likeness of those characters,
Mm-hmm.
from every generation of Pokemon. And you see it all the time with like but on the flip side, I think Nintendo is pretty overzealous with when they are suing companies
Mm-hmm.
because they're so large
Yeah.
that they can afford a such a good legal team, right? Like
So
Pokemon
they
is
can
the most
attack hard.
yeah, Pokemon is the most profitable media franchise in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So to have to go up against them if you're the company making Pal World or if you're say the team behind the Citra emulator that got taken down, even though it is not illegal to emulate a ROM that you have ripped from your own hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what are they going to do about it?
Yeah.
You know, what are all sorts of you see like ROM hacks all the time, like a lot of the Metroid ROM hacks have gotten taken down. Thankfully, the Pokemon Company has never gone after. At least I'm not aware of Pokemon Company going after any of the like ROM hacks for like Pokemon in
Mm-hmm.
particular, because those are quite popular. If you go on Twitch, you see most of the big streamers are playing, at least for Nuzlocking, are playing ROM hacks of the game to make
Mm-hmm.
them more
Oh yeah.
difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And it's also, I'm curious to see what's going to happen, because on the same time, at the same note of like, okay, a lot of people were upset about the whole AI thing and it looking very similar to Pokemon. There's a game that's out right now that's called TCG. It's like a card trading game.
yeah,
And a lot of people right now are going, oh my God, they're probably going to try to come after him because it's kind of the same concept, which you can't really, sue over the idea of them just trading cards. And the big difference is like on their cards, to my understanding, all those cards have like the name of like the artist who did draw them. Do they look very similar to Pokemon? Yes, but
sure.
at least they were drawn by a person and
Mhm.
not just chucked through an AI,
Yeah,
art system. However, now somebody made
a
uh,
mod for the TCG shop
yeah,
simulator, right?
and now it
Yeah.
is all Pokemon cards. So you can have all the Pokemon cards. You have Pikachu and everything. So everybody's now wondering, like, okay, how long does this mod have to
I,
breathe?
I think that mod is very different than the game itself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon's not even the most popular trading card game,
Yeah.
right? There's Magic the Gathering is a much larger trading card game than
Yep.
Pokemon TC and better. I've been getting back into Magic the Gathering.
Uh-huh.
I foresee that being a big part of my life after November. But I I could see them saying, well, you don't own the rights to like selling trading cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I could see a world where they say, hey, this mod is using straight up just images ripped from for
Yep.
the Pokemon website. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah, I didn't think that they had much of a case prior when this mod came out. I That was the first question I started asking my friends. I was like, "How long do we think that this is going to last
But
before?"
but
They're like,
who made
"You can't
who
do
made the
that."
mod? Who made the
I
mod?
I don't know. I think it might have been like one person that kind of did it. I'm not
But
100% sure on that.
but are they affiliated with the developer at all?
I don't know. That's a good
Because if they're
question.
if they're not affiliated with the developer, like,
I don't think that they are. I don't think that they are, but I would have to double check on that one to
honestly,
know for
because it
sure.
includes Oshawott, I don't think that mod should be allowed anyway. Okay, you need to get rid of
Poor
that.
Oshawa gets so much hate.
It's terrible. I can't get into on the pod, but you know my reasons. Okay.
We were playing Party Animals last night, and there was a person whose name was Bidoof, and all of us were like, "Oh my god, it's Hiplim's Pokemon!"
I love Bidoof. Bidoof's
it
my
would just
guy.
it made us all chuckle because we all knew it, but then also all were like, "But if it was Oshawa, it'd be a whole different conversation."
Bidoof is easily a top 3, top 5 favorite Pokemon for me. Oshawott is bottom 1.
Might as well plug the YouTube now, okay? Alex has his own YouTube where he does some really awesome things with some really good. Like I'm not a huge Pokemon person, and I remember when you came with that video, I watched the entire thing being like, "This is great! Like he did such a good job with this." So feel
Yeah,
free.
I'm proud of the editing on that. I made a
Yeah.
I made a video where I beat when Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl came out. I beat it with only a Bidoof. And I beat the whole game. I didn't I did it like I leveled him up to 100 and was able to beat Cynthia. Had a great time. And I'm really proud of the editing and the writing on that video. And
It
it
was
was
so
so
good.
much work. It was so much work, but I think I could see. I don't think I could ever see myself going back to um like streaming, but I could see myself going back to a world where I'm making YouTube videos. Probably not like that, like probably
Mm-hmm.
slightly different. I don't think I have the Zoomer energy as I enter my late 20s
Mm.
and
Those
enter
early
my early
30s.
30s. That's next year. To like really be like, whoa, check out this cool challenge. But I could like I could fuck with some video essays or something like that.
What's also funny is thinking of there's time, and we don't have to go into it, but thinking of like hip flip TikTok also is
I
funny to
can't
think
no
back of like how hard you were into
edit this
TikTok.
out.
Oh my gosh. This man
Hey, it
was
worked.
posting like 2 TikToks a day at one point, and I was like, how are you
It
doing this?
it worked. When I was posting consistently on TikTok and when I was like making YouTube shorts and Instagram reels, I think I was averaging like 30 or 40 people a stream, and then I stopped because I moved and I just other things took priority. But
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty proud of it showed that if you're making a lot of content and putting out quite a bit of it,
Mm-hmm.
it does see, growth and pays dividends. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's just not the lifestyle I want to lead. I feel like when I was streaming and when I was doing stuff like that, I got a real insight into some other folks who were perhaps like, further along in their growth than I was at the time, and I just left being like, you know what, I don't think that's the life I want to lead.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's tough,
it's
yeah.
but yeah,
But
don't look up that TikTok. Don't
well,
ever stop.
don't go looking at this. I think they're great. You had some good TikToks. They were
Lindsay,
incredible.
I can't. Okay, I'll rewatch the Bidoof video with pride. I will never watch a TikTok of mine ever,
I don't, is
ever.
your TikTok still up? Why did I think you took it
I
down?
don't. I might have. I've deleted it from my phone. I don't
Uh,
have access to it anymore.
TikTok's a black hole, so I don't blame you. It's
I
really
I
bad.
I don't dare. I lose enough time to Instagram reels.
Mm-hmm. So
TikTok's even
your
longer.
Instagram reel, so you're like a week behind all the good stuff.
Yes, and I'm fine with it. I'm
All
fine with it.
right, we're gonna continue on this this idea of these companies getting sued. I found some pretty ridiculous, silly lawsuits against games that I thought were pretty interesting. And I'm gonna start with that Lindsay Lohan claimed that she saw herself in GTA 5.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
and how it like went all out, and like she filed a lawsuit, and it took 4 years that this went back and forth, and then finally they were like, no, it's just like she just happens to look something like you. That doesn't mean that it's you. 4 years.
Dear Lindsay, there are other gingers in the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Even if there is, like, it's not like they like took her likeness.
Uh-huh.
It's not like the character was named Lindsay. It was probably some randomly generated character that's just a background. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep, but
that's really
she
funny.
claimed that the woman in one of the game's loading screen was modeled after her, which I'm pretty sure is like the main girl who like has the phone. She has like blonde hair. It's not even like red. It's blonde. And I'm looking at the picture of her, and if this is who she's talking about, I don't think they look anything alike. Okay, nothing alike. Also, if you guys haven't been on Lindsay Lohan lately, she has a new face, and her new face is her old face. It's very weird. Go look it up on your own time.
What?
It's really, really weird, dude. She like, because she had a bunch of stuff done, obviously, and then randomly one day she came back and she looks like she did when she was younger. It's
Like when she was
very
in Mean Girls?
kind of like she has her like Lindsay Lohan looking face again. It's very, very odd.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I think she looks great now, and I'm excited about the movie.
What movie?
They're doing Freaky Friday 2 with Jamie
Oh,
Lee Curtis. So, which I'm excited to see what this is going to look like.
I mean, I love Jamie Lee Curtis.
So do I.
She was great in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and
She's just incredible. I love
I
her.
loved that was my favorite part of that movie when she showed up, and I was like, oh my god. And,
Number 2 being Guitar Hero, and is it Romantics versus Activision. So the Romantics has the What I Like About You song,
Yep.
and well, it was in Guitar Hero. Was it in Guitar Hero? Yeah, it was in Guitar Hero. And they said, hey, your cover sounds a little bit too much like my music. And they obviously lost because they went, it's kind of interesting. Covers are meant to sound like the music that you produce. I don't know how else to
Did they buy the
give that.
rights to cover the song?
I don't know. It just says, let's say, okay, American rock band The Romantics filed a lawsuit against Activision over the use of What I Like About You being featured in Guitar Hero. Let's see. Despite giving Activision written permission to use the cover version of the song,
Oh, they're cooked.
yeah,
They're
they
cooked.
doubled back and was like, hey, it sounds a little bit too much like it. And after losing the case, that was
I find music lawsuits really fascinating. Like all the times that like Katy Perry and like Taylor Swift have like sued people to be like, oh, you stole my song because we have the same chord progression and a similar melodic like flow. And it's like, well,
all country music
own...
has the same like 3 chords. Okay, let's just go ahead and get that out.
Well, and you don't necessarily own it, right? Like and like Paramore and Olivia Rodrigo.
Hey, some of those are great mashups though later on. Like they fit really well together, and all of a sudden you got a banger of a fucking song.
Yeah, but it's where do you draw the line, and you can always there's a really great YouTuber named Adam Neely who's done a lot of like music related videos. And he'll often cover some of these larger profile, like copyright cases around plagiarism in music. And it's really funny when he just is like, all right, let's go back to the 1800s. Here's like Mozart doing this exact chord progression. Or like, these rhythms, how these rhythms have evolved. And it's really hard to say, oh, they clearly stole from me. It's like,
I feel like a lot of music, hey, you took from me back and forth, it never goes anywhere because it's so, like you said, it's so hard to prove that it was an exact like a replica or you were trying to write out like steal from somebody else's music.
I think sometimes you'll see artists like add like a credit to like, oh, this person helped me write it because their music inspired me so much. But I don't know if I've ever seen like, oh, all revenue from like, I don't know, like Hey Ya by Outkast is now going to someone else, right? I don't think that really happens, but it might. I'm probably wrong.
Also interesting that it says that after they lost their case, they went back and they tried to sue for a greater share of royalties in Guitar Hero, and they also lost that lawsuit too.
Get wrecked.
they tried real
two
hard
L's on one issue. Sometimes you just gotta walk away.
And then I loved this one also, that this is Donkey Kong versus King Kong. That the film King Kong, this is the 1933 one, filed a lawsuit against Nintendo saying, hey, your little video game there is after King Kong. And, again, it took like...
That one I got.
Yeah, a few years later. I think that's bullshit.
No, the first Donkey Kong game, what is he doing? He's picking up a blonde, jumping up to the top level of like a very industrial looking, structure. And he stays there, and then you have to climb up to go save her. I don't know. Does that kind of sound like King Kong on top of the Empire State Building?
Okay, but they lost though. So it says
should get better lawyers.
It says Donkey Kong did not violate any copyright that Universal Studios had claim over. Nintendo was awarded the $1.8 million from Universal Studios to cover the legal costs of the matter.
No.
And I think Mando agrees.
Mando does agree. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
If you've been hearing him in the background.
Sometimes I listen back and I can't hear him like in the actual like audio, but in my headset I can. And I'm always really sad. I'm like, aw, I could hear it, but I don't know if you guys can hear that cute little kitty in the background.
1 second. I'll point it at the door, see if he'll be loud enough.
Come on, Mando. Talk to us.
You can do it, Mando. Nah.
He said, I'm not going to do it under pressure. I'm not a monkey. I will not dance for you. You're crazy.
We had people over playing some board games the other night, and the cats would not stay off our table. Like
I want to play too.
Yes, and they would like it. It was a big, complicated legacy style board game, and they're just like knocking everything all over the place. And I'm like, you guys gotta go.
Oh
Usually
dear.
they hide when we have guests, but I think these guests are over enough now that
They
they
know
know
them.
that they're safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aw, I love that. Oh, damn it. See, I don't know if you guys are going to hear that, but it's okay. But yeah, so I always ask you guys this. I would love to know if anybody else knows of any like crazy lawsuits. There's a lot on, like, I found a ton of them. The problem is I didn't know a lot of these. Like, they were just
Mhm.
kind of unfamiliar to me. Um, like Pac-Man and Casey Mushin versus Philips. There's just like Pong versus Atari. Like there's a ton of them. You can look them up
Mhm.
and read some of these, and obviously the ones like it's very interesting to like read these like ridiculous lawsuits that happened, and seeing like who ends up winning. But I loved the Lindsay Lohan one. Like that was the first one I found, and that one made me chuckle. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like what I would be like, okay, you can keep it, give me a little bit of money, and let's be done. But I'm sure they were like, yeah, no, that's not happening either.
I can't wait for the Lindsay Lohan edition of Grand Theft Auto 6 where they force you to collect all the pages for a burn book that have been spread throughout the city.
That would be incredible. Incredible.
So I'm saying that's the
That's
Grand
actually
Theft
where they get
Auto.
their money, honestly.
You have to steal a bus and hit Regina George.
I don't know. I feel like that's how you get like the 5 stars in GTA, and they start coming for you, and the helicopters are out there.
Not if it's Regina George. I heard Katie pushed her in front of the bus.
Anyways, goodbye. um, guys, just want to say thank you for listening. We appreciate you. Have a fantastic Monday when this will actually it comes out Sunday night, but still, I just assume most people listen Monday. Have a good Monday and week, and we appreciate you guys. And happy time zones. Bye, guys.
Bye.